Good day, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of Dream of the Week, which I call the Tower of Power. My name is Alexander, and today we're going to be talking about a rather fun dream I had recently. One which I'd say falls into the epic category of dreaming. Before I spoil it any further, let's get on to the narration. This is the dream.
The skyscraper rises up before me, a lofty tower of glass and metal, seemingly without end as it lifts upward to the heavens. I stand at its base, looking up. But I'm not just me. I'm linked to another, an invisible presence that feels powerful, old and wise. I can sense he's a guru or teacher from India. At the same time, he's speaking to me, but also is me, and we speak together as if lecturing an unseen audience. We explain a technique for teleporting. And as we do so, we demonstrate it, moving in rapid jumps up the side of the skyscraper and showing how you can move from place to place without actually experiencing all the time and space in between. We quickly shift upward until we are at the very top of the skyscraper. At that point, we phase through the roof and onto the topmost floor, overlooking the vast cityscape below. All throughout, I begin to feel an increasing familiarity with my mental companion. Yes, I realize, this is the being known as Babaji, immortal yogi master of India. At the top floor of the Grand Tower, I have a moment of lucidity. I reach out to Babaji, feeling inclined to give him my name and the year I live in. I ask him to assist in my own efforts of spiritual advancement and ultimately ascension. After giving a few more words of advice to the unseen audience, I enter an elevator on the side of the building. It descends downward at a diagonal, careening forward like a fast carnival ride. As it draws closer to the ground, my perspective shifts into a street view, where I briefly feel that I'm experiencing another lifetime, and I pass men with rock-filled sacks which they swing at me. I receive the thought, is this how they want to execute me? But without fear, as if no harm could come of this. The image quickly fades along with the scene. Now, I'm looking out the window from a satellite or starship, viewing the Earth from above. The year, I know, is 2143. The Earth looks green and lush, parts of it covered in forests of enormous trees that hold white, tent-like dwellings in their branches. I feel no way to leave the small room I'm in, but use a ghost-like phasing ability to move through the floor and down to a long chute connecting the satellite to the Earth below. The first part of the chute, however, is like those famous Escher paintings covered in stairs that defy the laws of physics, looping into one another or ending in seemingly impossible ways. Beyond, I begin sliding downward, eventually reaching the surface of the planet below. The slide ends at a strange store-like room and set with a huge slot machine-like device that activates whenever a person reaches the end of the slide. A man watches it, his job to greet those who arrive on planet. Using similar abilities as Babaji showed me, I'm able to slow my descent down the slide and control how I trigger the slot machine, giving me a $5 million bonus upon entering Earth. The man in charge seems astounded, but I don't spend much time talking to him. Instead, I begin looking out at the Earth I've just landed on. The main thing I notice is the animals, yet they're not animals, but rather various types of robotic life forms, ranging from large to insect size. I see tiny drones flying around me and clouds of nanorobots that seek to merge with and alter the DNA of any visitors to this Earth. Yet they avoid me, seemingly repelled by my energetic field. I wonder if this is a possible future that I should strive to prevent. With this thought, I awaken back in my body.
Now that was an interesting one, eh? We all might find ourselves asking when we have dreams like this, what do they mean? Is there a quick and easy symbolism to decode when talking about dreams like this, what you might dub epic dreams, dreams that feature a heavy amount of mystical, spiritual, and you might say fantastical elements? Should I take it at face value and assume I am in contact with the ascended master known as Babaji, and that I'm well on my way to getting there? Should I take it as symbolic? Or should I just say, oh, that's just wish fulfillment. That's just my brain trying to have a good time and regurgitating back at me all the various mystical mumbo-jumbo I feed it throughout the day. All might be valid ways of looking at this kind of thing. But I'll say this much. It was a wild experience. It was a powerful experience. Dreams like that are something that's kind of common for me. I don't have them every night. I don't even think I have them every week. But every now and then, I'll have this powerful experience which often takes place outside of the ordinary levels of dreaming that I have. Dreams like this one have with them all throughout a kind of heightened level of awareness. I'm on a higher level thinking here. Not the same level of thinking I'd have in, say, an ordinary dream of going to a convention at a hotel or of hanging out at home eating breakfast. This dream, I was kind of in that hyper-conscious state through much of it. I wouldn't say I was at 100% lucidity. I didn't go through the whole dream knowing that I was in a dream. But, like we saw with that one segment where I had the mental awareness to call out to the Master Babaji and kind of tell him who I was and where I was at, there was some lucidity there. I am going to give a brief rundown of some possible symbolism here, though. I'm not going to overanalyze dreams like this, because to me, the more aware and conscious and sort of hyper-real the dream is, the less the symbolism necessarily matters. But, let's say this. The skyscraper, modern version of the classic symbol of the tower. If a building is seen is the mind, or is the state of mind, a tower is a state of mind that ascends, that goes upward, that rises, up into the symbolic skies of superconscious awareness. In this dream, clearly, I'm rising up and up and up. Some might want to give a tower like that as symbolic of what they'd call the chakra system located along the spine of the human body, that you rise up and up and up through the various levels, each symbolizing a new level of attainment and awareness and growth. You could look at it that way. I'm looking at it that way partially, not fully. And what does me basically being merged with this being known as Babaji represent, looked at it from a symbolic level? Well, quite simply, if you want to break it down, Babaji, for those of you who haven't heard of him, is what you might call an ascended master, a being living at a higher level or a higher vibration of reality. He's said to have been sort of influencing the events of history for quite a long time. No one quite knows how old he might be, but he's basically this immortal being living beyond the simple limitations of physicality. And I was recently reading about him in a book called The Autobiography of a Yogi, which I think I mentioned maybe on the previous episode or the one before that, where it's by his efforts and the efforts of his students that yoga was reintroduced both to India and then eventually made its way to the West and became really popular out here. So, there is that influence there. Maybe he showed up in my dreams because I've been reading about him and he seems like a pretty cool guy. I'll give him that. Of course, from the true believer's perspective, me reading that book triggered a communication with him, right? So, either way you want to look at it, some interesting stuff going on there. He could represent this very conscious part of myself, what New Age types would call the higher self, or what some people would call the superconscious mind, or a higher awareness, and that this is representative of me entering this state of higher awareness and rising to a greater state of consciousness. Truth be told, a lot of folks in spiritual circles, in the New Age and alternative community, do love to talk about their ascended masters. Guys like our buddy Babaji, or the Count of Saint Germain, or Jesus, otherwise known as Sananda. Other various masters like that a lot of talk of them was popularized with the Theosophical Society, and I myself have experience with this. I remember reading books by a woman named Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who her and her husband would channel some of these beings and they'd speak through them. I found this stuff when I was around 12 or 13 really fascinating. I wasn't raised that religiously, but when I started reading about these matters, it felt to me like the world was a magical place. Like there was something beautiful and grand, loving and powerful we could all aspire to. It was some good stuff at the time. And I feel it helped me not to get rid of Christianity, which around that same time I was starting to attend a Catholic school and have my first hardcore exposure to Christian elements, which I wasn't really raised that much with. It helped me to kind of integrate what I found in the Bible and in the Christian ideas and sort of leapfrog a little bit past that to other teachings as well, into what worked a bit better for me. Now, I'll admit this. I'm not into most channelings. A lot of people out there on the internet were probably a bit more a few years ago. We're channeling beings like Archangel Michael, Saint Germain. I don't actually recall any channelings with the Master Babaji, but there probably were some out there, or channeling various other beings from, say, the Galactic Federation of Light or Ashtar Command, other groups like that. I found some valuable teachings in those channelings, but in all honesty, the more I looked at them, I found that there was a lot of deception as well, a lot of stuff that seemed to be stringing people along in a lot of these channelers. There were some good ones, of course, but it's a brand of spirituality that I've stepped back from. One that, admittedly, I was never the most enthused about. But one where, if I don't know who's there on the other line, on the other end of that channeler's mind speaking through them, how am I supposed to know if they're telling me something legitimate or not? That said, there is something awesome about some of the mythology, some of the stories behind these ascended masters. The idea that there's this secretive group of superhero-like people behind the scenes, helping us to evolve, helping us to grow, and watching over the world is outright magical and excellent. It makes me not want to worship them, no. Don't want to worship these guys, don't want to bow down and be their disciple. No. Hearing stories about the ascended masters, the real ones, makes me want to join them. Of course it does, and it probably does the same to a lot of you listeners out there. I think that's a good thing. Like I said before, I don't really see absolutes anymore. Absolute truths, absolute good or bad. Are there truly ascended beings? Or is it part of our larger being? Are they part of us? Either way might be okay. Maybe there is no inner or outer. Maybe there just is. Of course, we got that interesting segment afterwards where I'm kind of spinning down on this elevator thing, kind of like a carnival ride, and then briefly experiencing that flash of what seems like, at least within the dream, a past life. Is it my past life? Is it a past life of this Babaji character? Well, don't know. Don't spend enough time there to really even find out. Just kind of another one of those interesting little moments in dreams that flash by you, that you experience and that seem kind of profound, but don't afterwards play much of a role in your existence. And symbolically, how am I supposed to look at that last segment of the dream where I'm in the satellite and then I descend down to the earth and there's all sorts of mechanical beings around, drones, nanobots trying to take people over? I could go all into that and say like that I have to overcome these artificial mental constructs, or that I'm on the way to overcoming these artificial mental constructs that are plaguing my awareness and my thoughts? I could go there, but you know what? I'm not going to go any further there. And if I look at that last part, with the dream ending in the thought that, whoa, maybe I'm here to prevent this nasty future with these robotic beings from manifesting. Am I going to take that as a mandate to go out into my life and do a bunch of crazy ass stupid things? No. I figured the best way to make sure the future is a good place is to be fully myself, to share my dreams and my insights with the people, to be as good of a person as I can be, and then to let that influence spread throughout the world to those who listen to this and those who they talk to. I'd like to say I'm doing my part. I could do better, for sure, we all could. And I'm looking to. And yes, I do consider myself to be on a path of ascension, whatever that truly means in the highest and best manner. Whether I'm working towards, like some of the Tibetans do, activating what they call the rainbow body of light, where your physical body disintegrates to be replaced by light body, or whether I'm just evolving to become the best version of myself. I do consider myself to be on that path of self-growth, self-improvement, and ultimately using what I gain to assist others. My intent here, by sharing this dream, was to highlight a different kind of dream, one that lies a bit outside of our ordinary mind states, those sort of mind states that can easily be just straight up analyzed. And to show you that some really cool, really super enlightening stuff can happen within the dream realms. Am I going to claim this was a face-to-face, or mind-to-mind rather, interaction with ascended being? No, I'm not going to claim that. But at the same time, I'm not going to claim the opposite either, that it was just a fabrication of my imagination. Truth be told, I'm open. Open to either one, but clinging on to neither. And to me, that's a valuable attitude, particularly when dealing with things in that liminal, uncertain realm of the dreams, of inner-level experiences, of out-of-body work. Nothing's really certain there. Could be I am dealing with these higher beings, Babaji, the Ascended Masters. Could be they're mainly representative of parts of myself, or could be that once you reach these higher levels of consciousness, there is no separation between self and other, and that in realms beyond the physical, I am Babaji. Babaji is me. I am the building. I am everything. So there you have it, my friends. An example of an epic dream. May you have your own. May they be awesome. May they fill you with joy, with light, and with life. I bid you goodbye. And until next week, sweet dreams.